Hi everyone, I'm Mr. Krolboer, or Mr. CB for short, and today we'll be talking about the physical regions of Canada. The focus during this presentation will be looking at how the land is different between the different regions of Canada. We'll start by looking at this map, which is broken up by the physical regions of Canada, and each of them is labeled with the name as well as color-coded. So for example, we have in red here the Interior Plains region. You may also notice the gray lines here that represent the provincial borders. So for example, here is Alberta. So the physical regions of Canada, such as the Interior Plains, they're based on what the land is like in each area. The physical region can span across many provinces, just like the Interior Plains does, through Manitoba and Saskatchewan and Alberta and up into the Northwest Territories. So what you can think about is that the region, the physical region, is based on how the land is, whereas provinces are political boundaries. They're made up borders. I have some questions for you to consider, and you're welcome to pause the video for about a minute to consider these if you would like to. What are some things that you notice and wonder about the regions? What are the biggest and smallest regions? What type of landforms do you think there are in each region? I'll go over a couple of these answers with you. The biggest region in Canada is the Canadian Shield. And depending on which regions your teacher chooses to instruct you on, there may be a couple extra or a couple fewer, but the St. Lawrence Lowlands in this case is the smallest region on this map. What type of landforms do you think there are in each region? You could take some hints or some clues based on the names, and for example, you might predict that the Interior Plains are going to have lots of plains, and you would be definitely correct in guessing that. So I'm going to take us to a Google Earth expedition just for a moment, and I'll explore a little bit of the Google Earth of Canada just to show that there are some locations that you could look at to explore each of the regions. For example, you could find some locations that will help you to explore the Cordillera, or Cordillera as some people call it, the Interior Plains or Plains, the Canadian Shield, the Great Lakes or St. Lawrence Lowlands, the Appalachian or the Arctic region. This is the interactive Google Earth of Canada, and the intention of this will be to give you some examples of locations that you could explore if you wished to look at individual regions. So for example, if you wanted to explore the Cordillera, you could look at Queen Charlotte Islands or potentially Grouse Mountain. If you wanted to explore the Interior Plains or the Plains region, you could consider looking around Viking, Alberta or Wilkie, Saskatchewan. If you wanted to explore the Canadian Shield, you could consider Fort McMurray, the Pissou Falls Provincial Park, or Thunder Bay. For the Great Lakes or St. Lawrence Lowlands region, you may want to consider looking at Algonquin Provincial Park or Stratford. For the Appalachian region, you might consider Fredericton or the Halifax Regional Municipality. To travel north and look in the Arctic, you may wish to explore Baffin Island. Or another example of the Arctic for you would be the Tuktoyaktuk National Park. These locations are examples of some places where you could explore the physical geography or the landforms that you might find in each of these regions. After you've had a chance to explore some of these regions, I've got some questions for you to consider. What do you notice about the regions? Which regions were rocky, frozen, mountainous, farmland, or bordered by oceans? And looking at these images, which each come from a different region of Canada, could you try to identify what region these pictures are from? The last question that I'll leave you with is to consider, based on physical landforms, or based on what's there, what type of jobs do you think could exist in each region? And there are some guiding images along the bottom. So maybe this would be for forestry. Where would you find forests that could be used for forestry? Here's a fishing boat. Which regions would be able to support fishing as an industry? And here's some farming going on. Which region would be able to support that? And what other jobs would each region be able to support? Thank you for joining me, and have a great day.